Hi, Bob Thompson for Smartphone Matters. Today I thought I'd give my summary and thoughts on Cricket Wireless. So for those of you who have been watching the channel, you know that I went through the process of signing up for Cricket Wireless to use with this iPhone SE. I moved my wife off a $45 5GB unlimited monthly plan from another wireless carrier. She wasn't using anywhere near 5 gigabytes of high-speed data, so she told me, find her a less expensive monthly plan. Now, when I started looking for a replacement plan, I figured that she needed about 900 minutes of talk time per month, and I know that's a lot. So it looked like she would need an unlimited talk plan. I also figured she'd need about 1 gigabyte of high-speed data per month. She doesn't really stream videos or audio over cellular data. She's connected to Wi-Fi most of the day, but she does want to know that she has enough data for messages, maps, and navigation and email, and being able to get on the web and other apps when Wi-Fi isn't available. I really also wanted the ability to add more data as needed. Now, she definitely wanted to exchange pictures and group texts with families and friends that are using Android phones, which means she would need MMS text messaging support, as well as group texts. So that was definitely a requirement too. And then finally, I think I said all this needed to work with her BYOP iPhone SE, which I have here on the table. All right, so I decided to switch her to Cricket Wireless. I signed up for this $30 plan with unlimited talk and text and picture messages, as well as 1 gigabyte of high-speed data per month. Now, Cricket Wireless uses the AT&T network, and that's what she had been using in the past, so we know the coverage is good in our area. Now, Cricket has some pretty competitively priced plans starting at $30 per month. And you can add an extra 1 gigabyte of high-speed data for $10. And that looks like it stays active on the account throughout the remainder of your billing cycle. Now, I signed her up. I went and I bought this SIM kit for $10 in the store. Now, I also bought this $40 refill card. And I went through the sign-up process, and I think the sign-up process was really good. I did it online, so there was no activation fees. And I picked the $30 plan, and the $30 plan is really $30. There were no extra fees, no 911 fees, no universal service charges or anything like that. No state sales tax. $30 was $30. It took about half a day for the transfer to be ready to go through. Now, another thing I liked about the transfer process is when I signed up, the new SIM didn't immediately have service. And when I received the email that the service was ready to be activated, her old service was still active and remained active until I clicked the activate button, at which point her old account shut off and then the Cricket Wireless account was activated. So that was really nice because I talked to a lot of people that sign up for prepaid, and sometimes things can get a little fuzzy in that transfer period where your new phone becomes active and your old phone is still active. Now, after that, I went through and I did the usual things. I tried voice, text, and MMS. All worked automatically. I didn't need to set up the APN on the iPhone. I didn't need to install any APN profiles. If you're an iPhone user, you may know about APN profiles where sometimes you need to install them to get your data working. But the downside is that MMS doesn't always work when you're using the iPhone with some of these prepaid wireless companies. So all those features worked automatically. Now, another nice thing about Cricket Wireless was that they have support for the iPhone's visual voicemail. So she hadn't had that support for a while, so it was nice to get that back. And Cricket Wireless also has this nice Cricket app. You can use that to check your account, check how much data you used, how much data you have remaining, what your current bill is, when your payment is due. You can also use it to purchase extra features. Now, on this account, the $30 plan, the only real option is to purchase extra data, and you can get 1 gigabyte of high-speed data for an extra $10 per month. Okay, so now let's get to the data, the high-speed data. Cricket Wireless sets a maximum speed of 8 megabits per second down on their 4G LTE network. And if you've watched any of the other videos on my channel, the speed test, I've had lots of speed tests using different prepaid wireless carriers on the AT&T network. You all know that the AT&T network can deliver speeds up to 20, 30, 40. I've seen close to 100 megabits per second down. So Cricket Wireless is limiting the speed. Now, my wife wasn't too concerned about that, so that really wasn't an issue. She just needed enough speed to be able to do things like email and browse the web and use maps. Maps support was a big issue, making sure that the data was fast enough for that. And it turns out that it is. She's told me she doesn't notice a difference in the speed. Now, I looked it up. According to Netflix, you need about 5 megabits per second to support 1080p HD video. And I also looked, and YouTube said about maybe 2 to 3 megabits per second for high def video. So 8 megabits per second should be plenty for streaming video. Now, I did try watching a YouTube video and a little bit of an episode of The Walking Dead on Netflix, maybe just a few minutes, and it seemed to play fine. If you check out the other video on my channel, you'll see that I did some speed tests, and the big surprise was that while we did see that the download speed seemed to be restricted to 8 megabits per second, there was no restriction on the upload speeds. As far as I could tell, the upload speeds were very fast. So that's great. That means if you're using your phone to send pictures or to upload to social media, you should see great performance because upload speeds were fantastic. There didn't seem to be any restrictions at all on the upload speed. Okay, so what's the verdict? What do I think? Well, actually, I have to say I'm pretty impressed. Now, I did have a lot of reservations about that 8 megabit per second download speed. I still don't know if I would switch to Cricket Wireless and use it. It would probably be fine for me too, but I haven't switched myself. If you saw the first video in this series, you know I'm now saving $190 a year by switching to Cricket Wireless and not paying for data that I'm not using on that other plan. And as far as my wife can tell, everything is the same except for the fact that she now has a visual voicemail. So it turned out to be a win, I think. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I would definitely recommend Cricket Wireless for people using the iPhone, as long as you're aware of that 8 megabit per second download speed, and that's okay with you. Okay, so what about Android? Would I use this with Android? Well, it worked well with Android in the test that I did. I only tested it for a few minutes, but everything seemed to work fine. Phone set up automatically, so that was great. A very smooth process. But I think I would look around at some of the other prepaid wireless plans that use the AT&T network. You may be able to get more high-speed data for $30 per month, and you may be able to find a service that doesn't set a maximum download speed. All right, well, I think that's going to be it for this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Now, I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers this year. That's a huge goal. Maybe I can make it if all of you hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, hit the like button too. Thanks for watching.